Chapter 5. God desires a close, intimate relationship with you. Once you begin to get rid of your idols, or at least striving to, by spending regular quality time with God, and you begin to enter into this deep, deep personal relationship with God. And when that happens, anything goes. Listen, people who have an intimate relationship with God get their prayers answered. In fact, they can actually change God's mind. Yes, that is what I said. They can change God's mind. Some of you may say, why, that's blasphemy. While others are saying, hey, I thought I was taught God never changes. God's nature never changes, but as you can see below, he can and will change his mind because of the prayers of people who have an intimate relationship with him. Listen, when Moses did come down from the mountain for 40 days or so, the Israelites decided to build a golden calf to worship. God got a little cranky, angry, and decided to destroy the Israelites. But Moses intervened and said, hey, Lord, cool your jets, man. Don't forget you love these people. You rescued them from the Egyptians. Don't destroy them now. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. God even said to Moses, leave me alone so that I can destroy them. But Moses wouldn't leave him alone. Moses interceded and God changed his mind and did not destroy them. Did you hear that? God changed his mind. Why? It's because Moses had a deep personal relationship with God. God listened to him. Exodus 32, verse 1 to 14. I'm going to read it for you. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said, come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow, Moses, in parentheses, they had known him for years and now they call him this fellow Moses. So sad. Close parentheses. Who brought us up out of Egypt, parentheses again. Yes, rescued you from the hands of the horrible Egyptian rulers, close parentheses. We don't know what has happened to him. Aaron answered them, take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing, and bring them to me. So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol, cast in the shape of a calf, fashioning it with a tool. Then they said, these are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord. So the next day the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. Afterwards they sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry. Just in case you didn't know, revelry is partying, drunkenness, and a lot of sex going on. Then the Lord said to Moses, now of course remember Moses has been up on the mountain, kicking it with the Lord for a while, spending some time with him. I think he was up there for 40 days, so we need to spend some serious time with God and he will begin to talk to us, or we will be able to hear what he is already saying to us. In any case, Scripture goes on to say, go down because your people, whom you brought up out of Egypt, have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them and have made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf. Just to note, this idol is no different than the idols we have that I mentioned above. Alcohol, pornography, food, whatever it is. We have tons of idols, sports. Back to Scripture. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it and have said, these are our gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. I have seen these people. The Lord said to Moses, and they are stiff-necked people. Listen, if God's calling you a stiff-necked people, you are in big trouble. Now, leave me alone so that my anger may burn against them and that I may destroy them. Then I will make you into a great nation. But Moses sought the favor of the Lord, his God. Lord, he said, here comes Moses interceding to the Lord for his people. Lord, he said, why should your anger burn against your people, whom you brought out of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say, it was with evil intent that he brought them out, to kill them in the mountains and to wipe them off the face of the earth? Oh, God, turn from your fierce anger, relent, and do not bring disaster on your people. Remember, Lord, your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, to whom you swore by your own self, I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give your descendants all this land I promised them, and it will be their inheritance forever. Then the Lord relented and did not bring on his people the disaster he had threatened. So God chose not to destroy the Israelites because he loved Moses. Moses had an intimate relationship with God. Moses was just up on the mountain with God alone for 40 days. We think we're doing good if we spend 10 minutes with God. Listen, Moses went away for 40 days and spent intimate time with God. He was leading the Israelites out of Egypt, and these people were complaining all day long to him. But that didn't stop him from getting away and spending time, quality time with God. So no matter what is going on in your life, get away to your back bedroom, backyard, or get away for a weekend and spend time with God. You don't want God calling you a stiff-necked person, do you? Don't forget, we are talking about having an intimate relationship with God. The incident I mentioned is not the only incident in the Bible where men or women had such an intimate relationship with God that he changed his mind. There are many. You can look them up if you like. Quickly, I'll mention a few. In Numbers chapter 16, verse 46 to 48, and in Wisdom chapter 18, verse 21. God started a plague to destroy all the people, but Aaron and Moses interceded immediately, and God stopped as soon as they interceded on behalf of the people. God spared cities because of David's intervention. 4 Kings chapter 19, verse 34. Elijah prayed there would be no rain for 3.5 years, and there was none. Then he prayed for rain, and there was. James 5, verse 17 to 18. Abraham pleaded with God not to destroy Sodom if there were 10 righteous people living there, and God agreed not to. Genesis 18. Finally, because of Hezekiah's prayers, God added 15 more years to his life and spared his city. 2 Kings 20, verse 6. The good news is we too can build this deep personal relationship with the Lord where he listens to us like God listened to Moses, Aaron, David, and others. God still intervenes and listens to his people. My wife and I have prayed and asked God to change the weather for us for a few hours while we are at the beach, having a picnic or something else that requires a change in weather, and 9 out of 10 times it happens within a few minutes. Let's make it clear, I'm not saying my wife and I are holy. Well, she is. But we are earnestly striving for holiness by shutting the television off, spending quality time with him, giving to people in need, loving others, loving the unlovable, forgiving others, etc. God is after the heart people. Doesn't mean you're sinless, but you're striving earnestly for holiness. So he still intervenes on our behalf. Remember, we're not striving for salvation. That's a gift. But we're striving for holiness because we love God so much. We want to live a life free without sin. Are any of you interested in this deep personal relationship with God? Or do we want to go on trying to figure out why God isn't listening to us? Why he's not answering our prayers? Listen, God can't wait to answer our prayers, but he's not going to answer us while we are deep into idol worship. That is self-worship. We want to be intimate with God, right? This is our goal. Unfortunately, our relationship is usually only an acquaintance with God. As Kyle Idleman points out in his book, Not a Fan, you have to be more than a fan. You have to be a committed follower. Our problem is we don't make the effort to build that relationship. Let's change that. We want a relationship where God can use us in a mighty way. Unfortunately, few travel this narrow road. We must intentionally pursue God. Go after Him. We must make it intentional. At times, you should go to conferences where there are anointed speakers. Go to YouTube and listen to anointed speakers like Francis Chan, Heidi Baker, Pope John Paul II, Mother Teresa, Andy Burt, etc. But mainly, go to your prayer closet and pray, pray, pray. Listen, listen, listen. Yield, yield, yield. Yield your ways to God's ways. Surrender your desires to God's desires. Here's the point of the chapter. You can move God, even change His mind when you are intentionally pursuing Him. Pursuing is the key word here.